different paths. All right. So, Longchenpa's introduction to the text speaks strongly and clearly about the relationship between self-liberation and paths other than Dzogchen. Even though in this life you may familiarize yourself with the point of the lower approaches, you will not see the reality of that which fashions everything, the pure fact of awareness, which those approaches contradict. A very potent first paragraph there, saying that lower approaches actually contradict the ninth jhana of Ati Yoga. Why is that? Because liberation is freedom from doing, freedom from fabrication, as we see in the 12 links, dependent origination. So, if there's this clenched fist, what do we have to do to find peace, relaxation, non-harm? We're releasing. There's no doing involved in that release. So that's why in the 10-minute sits that we do, it's a releasing of thought fixation, emotional fixation, bodily reactivity, the separating of self and other. That's also a doing. In order for us to have a conditioned self, we have to do that. That's why everybody knows. Everybody's just been in awe during a sunset or swimming underwater through this. Everybody has experienced non-self. Great friendships can be like that. Um, Union between partners can be like that. So everybody has really already. That's why I always say enlightenment is familiar. It should be familiar to you, kind of conventionally speaking. So we know our natural state. Okay. And when we start doing, that's when we leave the natural state, right? That's the point there. I went into the presence and I lost my doing that I was doing. So those who do not thoroughly understand my reality, universal creativity, are attracted to the diverse teachings and get involved in what the teacher, through the three dimensions, intended. They very much contradict what I, creative intelligence, intend. Remember, this is a unique translation here that we find. It's called I, creative intelligence. It's referring to your own mind. And the basis of your mind is awareness. And from that awareness comes this energy of the mind. And so that's what it means by creative intelligence. Because anything that comes from the mind, anything that we're looking at right now, has the mind in it. So cognition is everywhere in our experience. In fact, there will never be a time where you don't have consciousness. Everything you see has your consciousness in it, creating shapes, motion. We're actually creating three dimensions with our mind as well, right? Because the eyes can only see 2D. But as we've explored through psychology, our mind is creating this reality. If you don't want to accept that all in, you don't have to, but at least acknowledge the very fact that our mind has a huge role in the creation of this reality. And through that, you could see, well, what is the basis? That means there's a cognition within everything, the nature of mind, the nature of this experience. There's this awareness. There's nothing that your awareness cannot be part of. It's inseparable from your rage, from your joy. When you're eating, sleeping, it's always a part of that. So where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the energy of your mind, fluctuating like a roller coaster? Or do you want to be in the basis, much more steady, much more peaceful and expansive in the basis of the mind, okay? Like in Tibetan, they call Shi, or sometimes in the Burn tradition, they call Kunshi, actually, too. So, which, be careful if you're getting technical. Kunshi can be used to refer to Sem, conditioned mind, or Marikpa, or Avidya, right? Okay, so I'll continue here. I just really wanted to make that clear. What's being said when these declarations keep being made? I, creative intelligence. I want you to access that. This book is about the sovereign creator, your mind, sometimes translated as masculine. And then, as we found in that rare translation, it was translated as feminine. The sovereign mother, the name was for your mind, Kunya Galpo. So maybe it's a sovereign androgynous union of male and female energies. The female being the womb, the space, the Dharmakaya, the male being cognizance, impregnating that womb, and then you have the energy of that union, which is the Nirmanakaya display. Sambhogakaya impregnates the Dhammakaya with cognition, and there's a co-emergent display, which is the Nirmanakaya, all phenomena. What they're calling here the creativity, okay? But very important to understand the basis of this whole text. It's called the Kunya Gyalpo, and that's what it's referring to. So therefore, the scriptures of the genuine teacher, a direct teaching which was not taught by the Buddhas of the three times during the three times, have been spoken by the teacher, universal creativity. So this is our Guru Yoga in this group. Awareness is your teacher. You can rely on guides. That's wonderful. You can even visualize your gurus, your yidams. And then it's very powerful to, for example, if I'm visualizing my teacher Rinpoche above my head and allow him to melt into me and then assume the point of view of Rinpoche. Like then I'm resting in the awareness of Rinpoche or Vajrasattva or Avalokiteshvara or Guru Rinpoche, anybody. Yeshe Tsogyal, Mandarava, could be anybody really. You melt that into that's a outer tantra practice. So instead of doing that, we just rest in the luminosity of the mind and your own Buddhahood. Several points should be clarified here to avoid any misunderstanding. First, one path is superior to another because of its method, not its goal. A method is superior if it deals more directly with the heart of the matter, enlightenment, direct experience of the goal, awakening. By using a superior method, psycho-spiritual maturation can occur more rapidly. Second, a method is also superior if it is, can you move the arrow? If it is easier to practice, in the sense of affording more possibilities for practice and therefore more opportunity for maturation. Okay? Different paths are often categorized into the sutric, a path of renunciation where obstacles are eliminated with antidotes, the tantric, a path of transformation, and the dzogchen, a path of self-liberation. I guess they skipped the path of purification there. Looks like they also skipped. Okay, you can call the Mahayana Sutric. Sure. All right, so the balance of this commentary presents an overview of these paths: renunciation and transformation. So we'll get a look at other paths compared to Dzogchen. All right. So, of course, in the Nyingma Nine Yanas, which is this is the one I mentioned earlier. You are the eyes of the world, and it has a commentary by Kennard Lippmann, Lama Kennard Lippmann, who translated the text, was a student of Namkha Norbu. All right, so let's hear about these paths here. The path of renunciation is based primarily on a conventional understanding of the relationship between basis, path, and goal, where the cause precedes and produces the effect. The means achieve the ends. It relies on the intellect, reasoning, debate, proof, and so forth to establish the meaning of ultimate truth, which is itself the ground or basis for the path. Renunciation consists of the practice of calmness and insight. It is gradual. It is said to take aeons to reach the goal. We should also note that by explaining conventional truth in terms of our impure sense-based experience of ourselves and our world, we adopt an attitude of acceptance and rejection. We proceed by furthering positive, healthy thought and action while countering the negative with antidotes. Yeah, again, I'm just going to say that this commentary is pretty rare because it actually repeats the sentiment that Longchenpa has throughout the treasuries, that anecdotal and trying to fix yourself constantly can be a huge problem, because the baseline for that, you're holding this premise that you're imperfect, that you're incomplete. So this whole time you're trying to fix yourself, it's based on the premise that you need fixing, that something's wrong with you. So you're constantly harboring uh, that obstacle, that hindrance of there's something wrong with me. I'm imperfect. And so Dzogchen is, of course, called the Great Perfection. It doesn't matter, how we've been kind of told that we should look or feel or any of that. We start to radically be here with what we are. And it's the middle way, so we're not hedonistic and unapologetic. We can still see, oh, I've hurt somebody. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And trust in self-liberation. Trust that when you hurt somebody, that you saw it, and seeing is enough. That's the hard part. That's why Gaurav Dorje says, trust in one thing and one thing only, the self-liberation. Sometimes they say of thoughts, I would say, okay, if we really expand that term then into the fabricated self, you know, that's a thought. It is a thought. It's an act of consciousness, this feeling of me that's sitting here. The feeling of I like ice cream. I like water. I like tea. I don't like orange juice. Well, there's an I at the basis of all that. And that's also a kind of grasping, and that's also a kind of thought. So all this is being self-liberated the more you trust awareness. That your freedom rests underneath contrivance. Okay? Another amazing point. I really venerate and respect this text for actually presenting this in a Western way, or Western, what does it mean? I don't know, but in a way, in a kind of language that people in these times can really access, and then also accenting the main sentiment of Namkha Norbu, Tulku Organ Rinpoche, Lama Lina now, and a handful of others who follow the scriptures that say Dzogchen is perfect for these times that we're in. They follow that scripture. They trust that. They trust in the self-secret nature of Dzogchen and the self-protection in the Dzogchen. If people are thirsty, you have to offer them water if you have the water. You don't say, no, do 500,000 accumulations, and then I'll give you the water. So I'll continue reading. The path of transformation is not based on our commonly experienced world. Its source is unconventional, a deeper and more subtle dimension of reality, which we can only inadequately invoke with the word energy. This energy operates outside of ordinary linear time with its separation of cause and effect. Thus, transformation relies not on intellectual understanding, but on deep experience of the life process itself. To do this, it uses techniques involving mandala, channels, energy for foci, maybe that says forces and so on, fields. Is that a word? Foci? Anyway, plural of focus. Okay, foci, very, very nice, thank you. Am I pronouncing it right? Foci? Probably, yeah. Foci. Okay, thank you, Dorche. I always love learning new words. So, yeah, this is talking about basically outer tantra, but also uh, Mahayoga yana and the Anu Yoga yana, which is the seventh and eighth yanas, previous to Dzogchen, where you do these mandala offerings like this, but you'll also do them actual little mandalas with rice and precious gems and things like that. They have that as part of Nundro. And then the energy is eighth dhyana, that's yoga. And like I've said before, the yoga you find in Enigma encompasses all yoga. Yeah. Everything you've seen out there, whether it's Tumo heat practices, uh, sun salutation cycles, all this stuff is found uh, in Enigma Anu Yoga. And then that includes, of course, pranayama energy work. Okay, extensive, very, very extensive. They just keep it super secret, so people don't know this. And they also don't know that Virupa is credited with uh, the first mention of Hatha Yoga and founder of so-called Hinduist schools like Nath, but also founder of schools like Sakya Buddhism in Tibet. So really more proof that we shouldn't separate Hinduism and Buddhism into this nomenclature that the academics have adopted. It's kind of misleading, actually. But more interestingly, is that yoga has been there since India. It came from this curriculum, the nine yanas that came from India. The ancient viharas there, like Nalanda and many others, the Mahaviharas of Sri Lanka, even, and up around the Tarim Basin, the kingdom of Kushtan, and many other places where they had this entire curriculum of the nine yanas, I think so. So, and you do find yoga in there. And that it's a common misconception. Oftentimes people talk about yoga and you hear that's not Buddhist. And I've heard that plenty of times growing up. I'd be online in my younger days and a little bit more often. And I'm like, wait a minute. So my lineage, my school of Buddhism isn't Buddhism? We have yoga. Okay, so yeah, that's they're talking about the previous yanas there, and you have focus on generation and completion stages, bathing rituals, all types of ritualistic stuff in those yanas. So, and by the way, the basis, path, and fruit in every yana is it's all based on awareness. The difference in Dzogchen is that our basis For the path is the introduction to the nature of mind, so awareness, and then our path is awareness, and then our fruit is awareness. So that's called taking the fruit as the path. So the very basis for the path is awareness. Okay? So I just said that. Oh, I love when that happens. I swear I did not see that next line. It happened again. Remaining with this awareness is the path, and making it fully evident is the goal. Wow, that's exactly what I just said. Love when we get back up. It means that we're not some proprietary cult that's just inventing our own stuff. No, we're piggybacking on ancient methods that really work. Yeah. So, to make the goal into the path, this primordial awareness is introduced at the beginning of the path through uh, initiatory experience. Transformation can be pursued in many ways, as opposed to renunciation, which is tied to acceptance and rejection. Tantra uses special methods to transform passions, such as attachment and aversion, and the bodily energies that support them. Excuse me. Through Tantra, passions are invigorated rather than renounced. By the way, it seems like there's a slight conflation that I'm noticing here. He's conflating Tantra with Dzogchen. Uh, of course, my approach, I would rather keep those separate, unless you want to you can call Dzogchen inner Tantra, inner yoga, but really, um, invigorating your passions on purpose, this kind of stuff is more outer Tantra, in my opinion, and counter to letting it be that we do in Dzogchen. Okay? But if it works for you, if you want to invigorate or stir yourself up, if that's your approach that meshes with you, then I'm not knocking it. I'm saying that we're just kind of staying away from that. That's, by the way, the source of a lot of spiritual abuse out there. Or, oh, I'm just poking you to get you mad for your practice. Yeah, that can get out of hand real quick. So for these times that we're in, I prefer to keep it safe. So through Tantra, passions are invigorated rather than renounced. Because there is no need to accept or reject, all experiences can be used as friendly helpers on the path. Okay, let's see, I'll go to the end of that paragraph. But this requires the precise application of the special methods of transformation. If we possess sharp faculties, we can understand the esoteric basis of Tantra and follow its path, which can lead to realization in our lifetime, rather than the eons required by the path of renunciation. Yeah, that's an interesting. It sounds like a conflation. Maybe it's just a friendly union that he's making between these tantric practices and Dzogchen. But here, all experiences. I agree with that part. All experiences are friendly helpers on the path, but there are no special, precise applications of methods of transformation. That's not Dzogchen. That's still you're dealing with. For example, if you were to look up the nine yanas right now, you would see that. Um, Some of them are classified as the path of transformation. Dzogchen is not. So that's why I'm noticing a conflation here. But like I said, it could just be a kind of a special approach that Lama Lipman is following. Okay, well, thank you so much for allowing me to go through that. We'll pick up right there to make the distinction, okay? And we'll see where this text goes, if it goes into pure Dzogchen or if it keeps this conflation going. Thank you so much. By the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody on YouTube for watching and just kind of supporting the Dharma through any kind of subscribing and likes and all that stuff. But most of all, I hope your practice is going good, everybody who's a part of this meditation online. little mandala that we got here, this little group we got here. I'm appreciating you and your practice so much in these times that we're in. I feel it's very difficult to access any type of freedom, and you are accessing it. So deep bow to you.